which I'm very excited. Remember the Fighting Nerds? John said he's electric. I have not met him. And my guy TJ DeSantis hosting. Should be fun. And then Saturday, this fan experience. I don't know what it is, but it always goes very well when I pretend to be my brother John at these things.
I love those.
Maybe they'll send me around doing that, get a little content where people think I'm someone I am not.
I love that. It's beautiful. And how do you see now? First of all, this is so far, and I know that it could change. For me, Jay, this is the card of the year for the UFC. From
no doubt about it.
The bottom, this thing is loaded. Even the
Absolutely
early prelims are good.
Stacked. Yeah, and if I look at the fight card overall, I'll just say one fight early just to touch on. Jim Miller, Chase Hooper, right? Chase Hooper's done a lot of work for Fight Pass. I've gotten to know him well. I think he's like minus 700 or something. On the Anik and Florian podcast, both Kenny Florian and Brian Petrie, who's a handicapper, picked Jim Miller, I believe, to beat Chase Hooper. Cody can check me there, but that's interesting. Yan Xiaonan versus Virna Jandiroba. That's a fascinating fight early on. Dominic Reyes, Dan Ige. I mean, the prelims are stacked. Yair Rodriguez, Pitbull making his first UFC appearance. Fascinating. I could go on and on about this fight card. Okay, but let's just focus on the main event and the co-main event for a minute. Because I want to ask you a question. And Cody, you can leave those odds right there. So you see co-main event, Michael Chandler, Patty the Batty Pimblett.
Yep.
Did I say it? There we go. All right. So you see Chandler plus 124, Patty Pimblett minus 148. And then if you see the main event, Diego Lopez. Cody, if you don't mind, pull him so Gresh can see the main and the co-main at the same time. So both fights, co-main and main event, pretty close on paper, right? Volk minus 122, Diego Lopez. That fight's probably going to close to pick him. So you see the odds there.
Yeah.
So my brother had John Morgan, longtime MMA journalist, on his podcast, and he asked him, John loves saying to save a dog's life or whatever it is. If you have to pick one fighter in the main or co-main event to save a dog's life, who do you go with? Chandler, Pimblett, Volkanovski, or Lopez, right? So if I just put you on the spot there, whether you have any action down or not, a lot of people have been asking me for a main event pick this week, and I've abstained. To save a dog's life, you got to check one of those 4 boxes. What box you check?
Volk, because he fights like a dog. In my opinion, I don't want to go president or anything like that. I'm not saying that Chandler isn't one, but with Volk, it almost like, for me, Jay, it doesn't matter the weight class. It doesn't matter the size of the opponent, shorter, taller, whatever. It feels like Alexander Volkanovski finds a way to get an answer. And I'm expecting the same thing here against Diego Lopez.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. Coming off the couple losses, he's had some time off. Volk seems to be in a very good place. I often say when there are 2 fighters matched up, like, God, I hate to see one of these guys lose. In this spot, I'm actually thinking the opposite. I can't wait. Whoever wins, I'm going to be so excited. That doesn't happen right? Like, I couldn't wait. Like, Diego Lopez, I've gotten to know him a little bit, love him. Volk, couldn't love him anymore. But I think this fight's going to go one of 2 ways. I think Diego Lopez is going to starch him quick and do something magical with that energy, or Volk's going to sort of get on a bike a little bit, and it's going to go into the latter rounds, and Diego Lopez, the gas tank does concern me. I still think, we've seen him fatigue a little bit. So for me, though, in terms of picking the main event, it's a layoff for me all day. And I really think in the co-main event, it's sort of the same thing. Either Chandler sort of catches him early, or Pimblett either sort of drags it out or finds a finish. Cody, is that a 3-round fight? I should know that. Yeah, no, 5-round co-main event.
And that's,
give me all that.
Now that's the problem for Pimblett and Lopez, is that you have 2 guys who, if they drag you into the championship rounds, that's where they have the advantage. And I'm so fascinated by Michael Chandler because he was sitting around waiting for the mega fight with Conor McGregor. Now, look, Michael Chandler ain't broke. I'm not feeling sorry for him from that end. I feel sorry that the guy got to UFC a little later and then really just pissed around for the last 2 years, waiting to see if this massive fight was going to happen with McGregor. It isn't. So now it's Patty Pimblett. So what version of Michael Chandler are we going to get, Jay? Because this is a guy who, when he first burst on the scene, you knew that he was right in the perfect wheelhouse, I think, of age at the point of his career. And now you've kind of added a year and a half or 2 years to Pimblett, who to me has not really been challenged. Like, Michael Chandler is going to present a complex set of problems for Patty Pimblett, and we're going to find out whether Patty Pimblett is going to be one of the guys that are up here like Diego Lopez, or is he going to be kind of down here still trying to bang his way into championship opportunities? And I maybe I'm being an ageist here, but I like both veterans in both of these fights.
Fair. I mean, Chandler's been in there with everybody. And taking this fight for Michael Chandler. It's a huge opportunity for Paddy Pimblett. But Chandler, I think we're going to get what we always get, which is just guns blazing. And I think it's going to be up to Paddy to defend himself. I think in a lot of spots, he left that chin open. So I think he could be vulnerable early, but he's a smart fighter. And my brother John has been high on Pimblett from the beginning. We've said a lot about Paddy Pimblett. He bided his time before he came. The UFC came calling a long time before he felt as though he was ready. I don't think, granted, I think Jared Gordon did beat him, but he's undefeated in the UFC for a reason. I think every fight that he has had has come at the right time. I think this is no secret, right? I guess for me right now, I would lean both dogs if forced to say it, but I hope Volk doesn't hear me, right? Either way, I'll be happy. But for me, I just have a lot of faith in Paddy Pimblett to survive that early storm.
Mm-hmm. And that's really, with Pimblett can survive early and then regroup a little bit, you're in good shape. So if you go with, can't see there, is that Chandler and Volk? So if you go with the favorites, or actually, those are the dogs, Lopez and Chandler, plus 352 on both those guys. What's really interesting is the climb of Diego Lopez and Paddy Pimblett, where I feel like with Lopez, I think Lopez has the confidence of fight fans because of what they've seen. And I think this is the fight for Paddy Pimblett that can put that stamp of approval in the minds of a lot of fight fans and maybe even some people in the executive offices of the UFC.
That's a great point. I couldn't agree with that point more. I don't even have anything to add. I agree with you completely. I think the jury is out for some people on Paddy Pimblett, and this is the absolute perfect opportunity. But I love